Luis Vargas felt the first surge of strength when his supervisor called him stupid in front of the entire warehouse crew. Not just criticized, humiliated, made an example of, called incompetent, slow, a liability, told he was lucky to have a job at all. 20 workers watching, some laughing, some uncomfortable, all witnesses to Luis being torn down for a mistake that wasn't even his. Luis stood there, face burning, throat tight, that familiar shame that came from being powerless, from being small, from being nothing. Then something shifted. His muscles tensed, not from anger, from something else, something physical, like his body was responding to the humiliation, converting shame into force. Luis lifted a pallet of boxes. 200 pounds easy, should have required a forklift. He picked it up with his bare hands, held it at chest level, walked it across the warehouse floor while his supervisor and coworkers stared. Set it down gently, turned around, said nothing, just looked at his supervisor with an expression that said everything words couldn't. The supervisor didn't say anything else that day. Luis went home confused, tested his strength, tried to lift his couch. Normal, heavy, impossible to move. The surge had faded. Whatever had happened in that moment of humiliation was gone. Just normal strength, normal limitations, normal Luis. But he remembered what it felt like, remembered being strong. For just a few minutes, because someone had made him feel worthless. Luis tested it carefully over the next month. He learned the rules, and hated them immediately. The strength activated when he felt genuine humiliation, not just embarrassment, not just discomfort, deep, soul-crushing shame, the kind that made you question your value as a human being. The intensity of the strength correlated directly with the severity of the humiliation. Small shame meant slight enhancement. Major humiliation meant superhuman power. The duration varied, sometimes minutes, sometimes hours, proportional to how deeply the humiliation cut, how public it was, how personal. And the ability had one cruel twist. Luis couldn't activate it himself, couldn't manufacture the feeling. It had to be genuine, had to come from external sources, from people making him feel worthless. Luis Vargas became stronger every time he felt humiliated, which meant his power required him to be degraded, publicly, repeatedly, by people he couldn't fight back against. Luis was 28 years old, warehouse worker, Los Angeles, minimum wage, no benefits, no prospects, high school dropout who'd spent a decade moving boxes for rich people, living paycheck to paycheck in a shared apartment with 3 other guys. The kind of life where humiliation was daily, where supervisors yelled, where coworkers mocked, where customers complained, where every day was a reminder that Luis was at the bottom, replaceable, insignificant. Now he had an ability that turned that degradation into power, but using it meant accepting the humiliation, enduring it, letting people treat him like garbage so he could be strong for a few minutes afterward. Luis didn't use it, not deliberately, just went to work, did his job, kept his head down, avoided situations where people might humiliate him. But humiliation found him anyway, because that's what happened when you were poor and powerless. People felt entitled to degrade you. The pattern established itself over 6 months. Supervisor yelled at Luis for being late. Traffic had been bad. Didn't matter. 30-minute tirade about responsibility and work ethic. In front of everyone. Luis felt the surge. Spent the next hour able to lift twice his normal capacity. Finished a full day's work in 3 hours. Supervisor took credit. Customer complained Luis loaded her car wrong. Screamed at him in the parking lot. Called him lazy. Stupid. Said people like him were why America was failing. Luis felt the surge. Carried her entire order to her car in one trip. 60 boxes. Should have been impossible. She didn't thank him. Just drove away. Coworker made jokes about Luis's accent. His English. His immigration status. Luis was born in LA, but the coworker didn't care. Made him the butt of jokes for a week. Luis felt the surge multiple times. Worked harder than anyone. moved more freight than 3 people combined, got written up for showing off and making others look bad. Each humiliation made him stronger. Each moment of degradation gave him temporary power. And each time, Luis hated it more. Because the ability didn't change anything. He was still poor. Still powerless. Still at the mercy of people who felt entitled to treat him like dirt. The strength didn't fix his life. It just gave him a way to work harder for the same terrible wages. The first time Luis used the ability deliberately was 9 months after manifestation. His apartment building caught fire. Middle of the night. Electrical fault. Old wiring. The kind of hazard that happened in buildings where poor people lived because landlords didn't maintain anything. Luis woke up to smoke. Alarms. Screaming. He got out of his apartment. Saw the fire spreading. Saw people trapped. Elderly woman on the 3rd floor. Window blocked by flames. No way down. Firefighters were coming. But they wouldn't arrive in time. Luis knew that. Could see it. The woman was going to die. He looked at the building. At the fire. At his own hands. Thought about his ability. About what it required. Then Luis thought about his life. About being nothing. About being powerless. About every time someone had made him feel worthless. Every humiliation. Every degradation. Every moment someone had treated him like he didn't matter. The shame came flooding back. All of it. At once. Years of accumulated humiliation crystallizing into one overwhelming feeling. The surge hit like lightning. Luis ran into the building. The heat didn't matter. The smoke didn't matter. His body was operating beyond normal human limits. He climbed the stairs. Found the woman. Picked her up. Carried her down 3 flights. Through flames. Through collapsing structure. Made it outside seconds before the 3rd floor collapsed. Set the woman down. Paramedics took over. The surge faded. Luis collapsed. Smoke inhalation. Burns. Exhaustion. But the woman was alive. And Luis had done that. Not because he was strong. But because he'd remembered every moment someone had made him feel weak. Word spread. Not about the ability. About Luis being a hero. The guy who'd run into a burning building. Saved a life. Risked everything. Local news picked it up. Warehouse worker saves neighbor in fire. They interviewed him. Asked him how he'd done it. Where he'd found the courage. Luis said adrenaline. Said he didn't think. Just acted. Didn't mention the ability. Didn't explain that he'd activated it by reliving years of shame. His employers saw the coverage. Called him in. You're a hero, Luis. Good for our company image. We're giving you a raise. 50 cents an hour. And you're our new employee of the month. 50 cents. After saving a life. After 10 years of work. 50 cents an hour. Luis felt the humiliation. Felt the insult. Felt the surge starting. Forced it down. Said thank you. Took the raise. Walked away. Because he'd learned something important. The ability responded to humiliation. But using it meant accepting that humiliation was justified. Meant letting people degrade him without pushing back. Meant being grateful for scraps. And Luis was tired of being grateful for scraps. He quit 2 weeks later. No notice. No explanation. Just walked out. Found work at a different warehouse. Same pay. Same conditions. But at least it was different faces delivering the same humiliations. The ability kept activating. Luis kept getting stronger. Temporarily. When people made him feel worthless. Which was often. Because the world had endless capacity for degrading poor people. But Luis stopped using the strength for their benefit. Stopped working harder. Stopped exceeding expectations. Just did his job. Let the surge pass unused. Refused to give them the benefit of his pain-powered labor. His new supervisor noticed. You're capable of more. I've seen you move things that should be impossible. Why aren't you working to your potential? This is my potential. What you saw before was something else. What was it? Luis looked at him. Desperation. And I'm done being desperate. The FBI found him 8 months later. Agent Wilson. Same conversation. Different angle. Mr. Vargas. We've been tracking unusual strength manifestations. People who exceed human limits during stress. Your name came up. Multiple witnesses. Consistent pattern. You become stronger when you're emotionally compromised. I don't know what you're talking about. Wilson pulled out footage. Security cameras. Luis lifting impossible weights. Moving freight that should require machinery. All during moments of visible distress. You're triggered by negative emotions. Specifically humiliation. The more degraded you feel, the stronger you become. That's an exploitable ability. We have uses for it. I'm not interested. You don't understand what we're offering. Training. Resources. Respect. A chance to use your ability for something meaningful instead of moving boxes. Respect? You want to use my ability. An ability that only works when people make me feel worthless. That's not respect. That's exploitation with better benefits. Wilson was quiet. We wouldn't humiliate you. We just put you in situations where people would humiliate me, where I'd feel degraded, where my shame would make me useful. That's the same thing. Different building. Same abuse. It would save lives. My life counts too. And I'm not destroying my self-worth for anyone. Not for minimum wage. Not for government salary. Not for anything. Wilson left a card. When you're ready to make a difference, call us. Luis threw the card away. Because he'd finally understood what the ability was telling him. That his value wasn't determined by how much weight he could lift. That being powerful through degradation wasn't power at all. That accepting humiliation, even if it came with superhuman strength, was still accepting that he was less than human. Luis started organizing. Not unions. Those were dangerous. Got people fired. Got people blacklisted. But informal networks. Workers helping workers. Sharing information. Coordinating. Building power that didn't require anyone to feel ashamed. He met Maria at one of the meetings. She worked retail. Same struggles. Same humiliations. Same exhaustion from being treated as disposable. They started dating. Slowly. Carefully. Both of them too tired from work to do much. But it was something. Someone who understood. Someone who didn't make him feel small. Maria noticed the pattern. You're different sometimes. Stronger. It happens after bad days at work. Luis told her. About the ability. About the humiliation trigger. About hating that his power required degradation. Maria was quiet for a long time. Then, so you're strongest when you feel most worthless. Yeah. That's fucked up. I know. What are you going to do about it? Luis thought about it. Stop giving them opportunities to humiliate me. Stop putting myself in positions where people can make me feel small. And stop using the strength they give me. Let it fade unused. But you could help people. Save lives. I save one life and accept 1,000 degradations. That math doesn't work. I'd rather be weak and whole than strong and broken. Maria nodded. Then be weak and whole. That's enough. 2 years after the ability manifested, Luis made a choice. He got his GD. Started community college. Business degree. The kind of education that might get him out of warehouses. Might give him work where people treated him like a person. It was hard. Working full-time. Studying. Barely sleeping. Living on even less money because tuition ate his savings. But Luis was building something. Not temporary strength from humiliation. Permanent progress through effort. The kind that didn't require anyone to degrade him. The ability still activated. Couldn't turn it off. Every time someone humiliated him, and people still did, constantly, Luis felt the surge. Felt the strength. But he stopped using it. Let it fade. Refused to give them the satisfaction of seeing him work harder. Refused to prove he was valuable by exceeding degraded expectations. Some people thought he was lazy, underperforming, wasting potential. They said so, loudly, in front of others. Luis felt the surges. Ignored them. Kept going to class. Kept studying. Kept building a life that didn't require him to be humiliated to have value. 3 years after manifestation, Luis graduated. Associate's degree. Business administration. Not impressive by most standards. but for someone who'd worked full-time while attending school. For someone who'd clawed their way up from minimum wage warehouses. For someone who'd refused to use superhuman strength as a shortcut. It was everything. Luis got a job. Office work. Entry level. Still not great pay. Still not respect. But better. Different. A step up from having supervisors scream at him for existing. The ability still activated. Office politics were their own kind of humiliation. Bosses who talked down. Co-workers who dismissed. Meetings where Luis's ideas were ignored until someone else repeated them. Each time, Luis felt the surge. Could have used the strength. Could have worked harder. Proven himself. Exceeded expectations. Instead, he did his job. Adequately. Professionally. Without exceeding what was required. Without giving them free labor powered by shame. "You're capable of more," his manager said during a review. "This is what you're paying for. If you want more, pay more." "That's not how it works." "Then this is how I work." Luis didn't get fired because his work was adequate, professional, exactly what was required. Nothing more, nothing less. And slowly, very slowly, Luis built a career. Not through superhuman effort, through normal human persistence. The kind that didn't require degradation. Luis Vargas is 33 now. 5 years since the ability manifested. 5 years of becoming stronger when humiliated. 5 years of choosing not to use that strength. He still has the ability. Still activates during humiliations. Still gives him temporary superhuman power. But Luis hasn't used it deliberately in over 3 years. Just lets it fade. Refuses to validate that his worth comes from how much shame he can convert into labor. He works in an office. Makes okay money. Lives in a better apartment. Still with roommates but by choice now, not necessity. Dating Maria seriously. Talking about marriage. About building something permanent. The humiliations still happen. Smaller now. More subtle. But they're there. Microaggressions. Dismissals. The 1,000 small ways society tells poor people they don't matter. Each one activates the ability. Each one makes Luis temporarily strong. Each one he ignores. Because Luis learned the hardest truth of all. That power gained through degradation isn't power. It's just another form of exploitation. Another way for people to extract value from your pain. And accepting that trade, strength for shame, was accepting that he deserved to be humiliated. That his value came from converting degradation into productivity. Luis chose differently. Chose to be normally strong and treated with basic dignity over being superhuman and constantly degraded. That choice cost him everything the ability could have given him. No heroics. No recognition. No using superhuman strength to save lives or change the world. Just normal life. Normal work. Normal relationships. Normal respect. And for Luis, that was enough. Because being treated like a person, even a normal, unremarkable person, was worth more than any temporary strength gained from being treated like garbage. He could become stronger every time he felt humiliated. And he chose to pursue a life where humiliation was rare enough that the ability barely activated. Where his value wasn't determined by how much shame he could endure. Where strength came from self-respect instead of degradation. Some abilities empower you. Some enhance you. Some give you options. His just showed him how much of his life had been built on accepting humiliation as normal. As deserved. As the price of survival. And once Luis saw that clearly, he couldn't unsee it. Couldn't accept it. Couldn't use an ability that required him to believe he was worthless. So he built a different life. Slower. Harder. Without superhuman shortcuts. But with dignity. Luis Vargas became stronger every time he felt humiliated. And he chose a life where that happened as rarely as possible. Because some power isn't worth the cost. And the cost of his power was his self-worth. He kept the self-worth. Let the power fade unused. And built something real instead. That's not heroism. That's not sacrifice. That's just choosing yourself. Choosing dignity. Choosing to believe you're worth more than the strength gained from shame. And some days that choice is the hardest power of all.